I'd like to call this informational meeting for the Tourism, Recreation, and Economic Development Committee. And Dan, can you please take the roll? And I will say we do not need a quorum for this meeting, just so you know. And I'm sure people will be wandering in shortly.
All right. Representative Daley?
Here.
Representative Bellman?
Leave.
Representative Boyd?
Leave.
Representative Brennan?
Here
Leave.
online.
Representative Cepeda Freitas?
Here.
Representative Serrata?
Here.
Representative Powell?
Leave.
Representative Probst?
Leave.
Here, virtual.
Representative Prokopiak?
Oh, wait.
Virtual. Representative Prokopiak?
Leave.
Rivera?
Leave.
Representative Rusnak?
Leave.
Representative Steele?
Is here.
Here
for-
online.
Yes.
Representative Takak?
Leave.
Representative Young?
Leave.
Representative James?
Present.
Representative Armanini?
Here.
Representative Banta?
Here.
Representative Barger? Representative Cooks?
Present.
Representative Cooper? Representative Flex? Representative Jones? Representative Pickett?
Here.
Representative Smith?
Here.
Representative Twardzik?
Good morning, virtual.
Hello. Representative Wetness? A quorum is present, and the feedback will stop once I turn off my mic.
Thank you, Dan, and thank you, Teresa. I'd like to welcome everyone to this informational meeting today to discuss the America 250 Pennsylvania Commission and the work they are doing to celebrate the Semiquincentennial in 2026. Before we start the testimony, Chair James, do you have anything that you would like to?
Lucky for you, very little. Good morning, everyone. We're really glad you're all here, and we look forward to learning a great deal this morning. Thank you.
So just a few precautionary. We have received all of the written testimony for anybody who is going to testify. So you don't have to read it, but if you're more comfortable reading it, go for it. But the other thing is that Chair Coleman has asked that questions from all of us be held back until, well, questions for Chair Coleman and Governor Schweiker. We're going to hold them until the end because we have all of these other folks from different counties in Pennsylvania who've done a lot of work, who Cassandra said they probably can really give great answers. So we'll do questions and answers after each speaker, but we have a tight time frame to work in, and we'll hold any other questions until after everyone is done. So we are going to start with Cassandra Coleman, Executive Director of America 250 PA.
Thank you. So good morning, everyone. Chairwoman Daley, Chairman James, members of the committee, thank you for having me. My name is Cassandra Coleman, and I have the privilege of serving as the Executive Director of America 250 PA, a position that I have officially held now for over 6 years since the commission was created. It's been an honor of a lifetime to represent our Commonwealth, where this nation was born in Philadelphia, preserved at Gettysburg, forged its strength in Pittsburgh Mills, and fueled its growth from the coal seams of Northeast and Central Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania truly has it all. Through our epic pillars of educate, preserve, innovate, and celebrate, we are creating opportunities for Pennsylvanians of every age and background to connect with this milestone. Whether you live in a city neighborhood, a rural township, a historic borough, or somewhere in between, this commemoration belongs to you. The Semiquincentennial is not only about what happened in 1776, it is about the generations of Pennsylvanians, leaders, visionaries, and everyday people who have contributed to the growth and the strength of our nation. It is about telling these stories, elevating our shared values, and reminding Pennsylvania about what unites us. This anniversary is about learning from our history, embracing how far we have come, and reimagining what the future can be. So we're proud that Pennsylvania is the national gold standard among the America 250 commissions. America 250 PA is so appreciative to have the continued support of all of our former governors serving as our co-chairs, Governor Josh Shapiro and his team, and the members of the General Assembly who make this work possible. You'll soon hear from Pennsylvanians who've truly stepped up for this historic anniversary, leaders who've engaged rural communities, connected with young people, and brought the spirit of America 250 PA to life across our Commonwealth. Their stories reflect the impact we've already made and the pride that we can all share in this progress. America 250 PA takes our mission to engage every Pennsylvanian in every county very seriously, as we want all Pennsylvanians to have the opportunity to be part of something so special. We've created 2 key advisory groups, one to bring diverse voices to the table, and another with a dedicated representative of every county to make sure that no part of Pennsylvania is left out. We were proud to be the first state in the nation to have all counties sign on as partners and adopt our EPIC mission. To date, 414 local municipalities and nearly 300 nonprofits across over 50 counties have signed on as partners, and we know that there's still more work to do. Back in 2019, we asked everyday Pennsylvanians what they wanted to see through this historic anniversary, and 14 focus areas were identified, and they continue to guide everything we do, from programs to projects to events. We wanted to ensure that there were options for every Pennsylvanian, and so that they felt that there was a meaningful way to engage. Launched in 2019, our Direct Effect Innovation Challenge, presented with the Pennsylvania Turnpike Commission and supported by UGI, invites students to develop integrated marketing concepts around a new theme each year. We've partnered with over 40 colleges and universities across Pennsylvania, and more than 350 students have taken part. It's helping us retain the next generation of talent right here in the Commonwealth. Our Bells Across PA project is a statewide arts initiative that will place at least one fiberglass Liberty Bell in each of Pennsylvania's 67 counties, designed by local artists and commissioned by America 250 PA. Each bell will reflect the unique spirit of its community. In partnership with Visit PA, these bells will form the Bells Across PA Trail, a chance for Pennsylvanians to explore the Commonwealth, discover the stories behind each bell, and connect with the places and people that they represent. Our Liberty Tree project, in partnership with the Pennsylvania Freemasons, will allow us to plant a certified Liberty tree in each of our 67 counties. These trees are propagated from the original Liberty tree the revolutionaries used to gather under 250 years ago. Our Road to 2026, presented by Independence Blue Cross, Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield, and Capital Blue Cross, encourages Pennsylvanians to get active and get healthy by 2026, all while enjoying the beauty of our state parks. Our Semiquincentennial bells are permanent bronze installations that honor the stories of communities whose contributions to Pennsylvania's history have often gone untold or unrecognized. Our Pennsylvania Day volunteer efforts, celebrated each year on July 20th and presented by Giant, Natural Food Source, and EQT, is one of the only volunteer-driven initiatives tied to a Semiquincentennial commission in the country. It encourages Pennsylvanians to give back by helping their neighbors and communities. In partnership with Feeding Pennsylvania, local food banks, and Keep Pennsylvania Beautiful, volunteers support local food distribution efforts and take part in beautification projects across the state, ensuring our Commonwealth is ready to welcome the world in 2026. To date, we've awarded nearly $40,000 in mini grants to help fuel these localized efforts. Our Memorial Flags initiative is our way of honoring Pennsylvania's service members by working with county veterans offices, the American Legions, and VFWs, and by providing both flags and volunteers. We're helping to ensure more grave sites across the state are marked with the respect they deserve next year. And our Service Member Spotlight series honors Pennsylvania service members on our social media, newsletters, and website. And in 2026, we'll be bringing this recognition to life by hosting these individuals and their families at a special Veterans Day event. Our Keystone Classroom Initiative is a storytelling and visitation program that brings the history of Pennsylvania to life for pre-K through fourth grade students, visiting classrooms, children's hospitals, and summer camps across our Commonwealth. It's our way of making sure that the next generation understands the role that Pennsylvania has played in shaping our nation, because when you know where you've come from, you have a better idea of where you're going. So far, we've reached over 30,000 Pennsylvania students and are on track, to reach 50,000 by the end of this year. The children's smiles and excitement truly make your day. And lastly, but certainly not least, we will be awarding $250,000 in Semiquin scholarships in 2026 to Pennsylvania seniors who decide to continue their education here in Pennsylvania for the 26-27 school year. Pennsylvania will be the place to be in 26, with so much happening, especially in the sports world. But we're focused on making sure the local stories and community-led efforts earn almost as many cheers as a Bryce Harper home run in the All-Star game. We are appreciative to the legislature and to the governor for support for our Semiquin grants, where we awarded $490,000 in the fall, and round 2 just opened last week to award another $510,000 to organizations, counties, and municipalities who are planning events and programs for next year. Our first round supported 33 worthy submissions in 18 counties, and we're so excited to see what your constituents submit for round 2. We're also thrilled to see the governor's proposed $64 million investment in 2026 includes additional support for our work in this upcoming budget. As we continue to create impact in all 67 counties, we must also stay focused about building a lasting legacy. That's why the proposed $36.5 million in dedicated funding is absolutely crucial to ensuring Pennsylvania continues to lead the nation in this historic effort. With our mobile unit and concert series, we'll be bringing the celebration directly to your districts, reaching every county, every community, and making sure everyone feels seen and heard. Pennsylvania has always been a state of ingenuity. Our railroads and steam engines drove progress. Our suspension bridges connected communities. Our steel scraped the sky from sea to shining sea. Our discoveries saved countless lives. Pennsylvanians didn't just witness history. We drove it. We shaped this nation. We changed the world, and we're not done yet. This historic milestone anniversary is our call to action. What will Pennsylvania's next great innovation be? From Independence Hall, where our nation was born, to this very building where Pennsylvania led the way, declaring women's right to vote 7 years before the rest of the country. From the depths of our coal mines, where generations carved prosperity from solid rock, to the skies above, where Pennsylvania's own Guy Bluford became the first African American to orbit the earth. From the scorching heat of the blast furnaces, where workers forged the backbone of America, to the bitter cold of Valley Forge, where Washington's troops forged a nation. Every county, every community, and every person here is part of this story. I promise you this, America 250 PA is committed to making sure that Pennsylvania's legacy is celebrated across this nation and is accessible to everyone. And with your partnership, the best is yet to come. I want to thank you again for having me today, and it is now my honor to introduce you to former Governor Mark Schweiker, a co-chair of America 250 PA. Thank you.
Thank you, Cass. Thank you, Cass. And I hope you sense the fervor that Cass delivers to this effort across the state. And I say this fondly, she is a machine when it comes to the programmatic side, and not reluctant to get in that car and reach all 67 counties. And as someone who's been to all 67 counties, that's a hell of an achievement, I want you to know. So in that regard, Cass is the right executive at the right time for this very ambitious undertaking. And I hope you've sensed, or at least filed away, some of these important aspirations and commitments. So let me just say this, friends, just a couple of thoughts and then right to your reactions or Q&A, that I speak for many of the folks behind me who will, I think, in impressive depth, talk about some of these programmatic commitments that have reached all counties. Think about it. We've come to know this. I mean, last fall, Pennsylvania was the trendsetter when it comes to the idea of celebrating America's birthday. We had 18 states visit Philadelphia looking for ideas, looking for the type of leadership that would be effective. What works? In that regard, they could have gone anywhere that particular weekend. They came here to Pennsylvania because they wanted to understand how is it, what's occurred dynamically that allowed all of us to celebrate and give them guidance. And as an important parenthetic remark, let me just look you in the eye and say thank you for your support and leadership, both the folks who are present today and connected remotely. Truly, without that vision some years back, and of course, folks like Chairman James and Chairwoman Mary Jo Daley, I don't think we would have reached this point. But because of that kind of support, and I know we have former House member Greg Rothman here, State Senator Greg Rothman, thank you for that kind of stalwart backing, because it allows us to tell the story in a way that it drew 18 other states here to Pennsylvania. And just when you see folks from other places, take a look at that Liberty Bell. And as Pennsylvanians, maybe you think, well, it's kind of same old stuff. No. When they look at it, they realize this is an incredibly unique place called Pennsylvania, going back to the days of William Penn when he said, let's try the holy experiment. So in that regard, we're doing our best to capture that sentiment. We're doing our best to distinguish this state, and not just in the legacy and historical review sense, incredibly important to all of us, but really in a way that we build on that legacy so that there's economic return of great measure for your residents and your fellow neighbors, and in a civic sense as well. So it's not only about a history lesson. And believe me, I know about history lessons. I'm a Bucks County guy, raised not too far from the Washington Crossing Historic State Park. Without that, as I've often said to folks, the Battle of Trenton may be not the biggest counteroffensive, the most significant. Had we not succeeded, there is no United States of America, and that's not being melodramatic. And so the hand-me-down as a Bucks County guy is that, yeah, we are rich in accomplishment and rich in history. As I mentioned to Chairman Christian Leinbach, interesting, I could take you there and see really, Valerie, good to see you, is this. There is a tomb of unknown soldiers. Now, we know where many of those are, but for the Revolutionary War, it's right there in the Washington Crossing Historic State Park. And as the legend goes, Washington, in the cover of that night prior to that big counteroffensive, kind of walked up to many of the encampments and said, this is it, man. He literally said, victory or death. He knew the end was at hand if we had not succeeded. He had confided that to his brother. In 6 days, the enlistments were up. You got to be a pretty good pitchman to say, look, I know you can walk out of here in 7 days, but if you want the Republic, you want the United States of America, it is game time right now. And so one of the unknown soldiers, they found in his pocket, it said victory or death. He wrote that down. He committed that to his spirit. And in my mind, I think in our mind, this is what motivates us as we gather today and really try to inspire other members of the House and the Senate and leadership across Pennsylvania. What a commitment. What kind of effort did it require for him to walk into the darkness in 0 degrees and say, this is bigger than me, we're gonna go do it here. And they did it twice, so to speak, given the Battle of Trenton. How significant was it as we talk about history and legacy? Lord Cornwallis, after we took him out in Yorktown, confided to a family member and said, we had him at Trenton. And we countered, and the rest is history. So in my mind, I think we have a profound obligation as Pennsylvania leaders, certainly you as ranking leaders, to engage our fellow citizens and our neighbors and say, you know, this is more than a birthday party, man. Even though it's going to be one hell of a July 4th next summer. This is a massive civics lesson that we're trying to endow and inspire about what it means to be free people, what it means to engage in free enterprise, you know, the notion of democracy. And do I need to click with you today, knowing all that's around us, especially over this raucous weekend where we saw the signs and demonstration? In my mind, it's the sound of democracy. Free people voicing what they believe is right and wrong. That's what's at stake. It's not just a birthday party. And so when someone asked me as a former governor and someone who labored here in Harrisburg for 8 years what this is about, I said, this is about your families, this is about your kids, this is about a hand-me-down called democracy. And it's not a creation to say we're the longest running democracy in the history of the world. Not possible without your Pennsylvania. Not possible without those folks gathering in 1776 and saying, the hell with King George. We're going to duke it out with him. And I love, and Cass has talked about this many times, and my wife and I are into it too, because we did it at the Washington Crossing Historic State Park. Buy one of the Liberty trees. It's truly a botanical hand-me-down from a tree where John Hancock said to Adams very quietly in whispers, you know, because they could take your life then if they thought you were going against the crown. And John Adams said, I'm not a creature of the crown. I'm not a subject. I'm a free American. We're going at this. And the rest, again, is history. So it's more than a history lesson, friends. In my mind, it's kind of like your dinner table where your father and mother talked about what was important in a value sense, what distinguished the family, and that hand-me-down. So it's more than a birthday party. And I think we're doing it in a pretty savvy way. And I'll just finish with a couple of quick notes. One, it is about history, but it's about finding an economic and civic advantage in what we emphasize. Those projects, and I'm not suggesting that, you know, you're good for 36 million, which was, you know, looking at future projects. We love your suggestions. We love your many constituents who said, well, we can do this, this, and this. But the idea is once activated or constructed, the idea is the hand-me-down continues. The notion of free people in the United States of America continues in ways that families define it, not just the ranking folks. So in that regard, I think we're doing good work. And as someone who did work in a steel mill 2 summers in the open hearth, I can tell you it was hot. And the idea is there were folks working there 30, 40, and 50 years. And because they weren't going to have it any other way. I mean, they didn't have the opportunity in an education and professional sense to do anything other than that. But they were fired up and they were determined in their mind, I'm a free person. This is how I earn my paycheck and I'm proud of it. So that legacy is something which to nurture and shine and project to the world. Because if we do it well, the whole country pays attention. The whole planet pays attention. And I could show you a place where they solved the rubella scourge in Philadelphia, or Jonas Salk work in Pittsburgh, relative to what we've done, not just in winning world wars, but for winning the fight for health, really just situated and destined for an entire world to come to know that it's right here in Pennsylvania. And it's not only about Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. I hope finally that that's been registered, thus our efforts to reach these counties. And think about it. It was a proud moment. We could turn to all of those groups from 18 other states and say, every county in a formal resolution census has said we're in, including over 400 municipalities. In fact, I know that the executive director of the Pennsylvania State Association of Township Supervisors is here really to kind of chronicle that, to lay out, because the idea is we want to endow them. It's not just the big cities. It's about small communities and villages and boroughs. And I think we've managed, I think, to stimulate this. Now, I'll finish with this. It's really starting to come at us now, organizationally, an internal note. I mean, this executive to my left is 24/7. Remember, 3 years ago, had 4 people as far as the head count. It's up to 8 now, and it's in a demand sense. It's really starting to come out, the organization. And we're not looking to build a bureaucracy. We know, so to speak, on July 5th, 2024, or 2026, it goes away. We're not looking for permanence. We're not suggesting that. I happen to believe that we've done this in a very enterprising fashion. What you provided, we've managed to raise in the commercial sector 3 times that. And we're capable of doing more. But if I might ever so respectfully say, having run big organizations, that we've got to keep an eye on how much we can get done between now and July 4th of 2026. A second note, and I'll finish with this, and I know you might have some reactions for us, is this. You know, you've all got your own communication networks. I mean, that is kind of an everyday preoccupation of office holders in Pennsylvania. We'd love to leverage that. We can only do so much with the limited personnel we've got, because on a communications level, it's a growing inflow now. And I think it's going to be a tsunami when the year turns in the January of 2026. So if you might, we'd love to be able to click with you on some of these, this kind of effort. We think there's some handoffs to some key personnel and constituents in your district that would want to know what can be accomplished here. That's important to us as well, as we're really beginning to feel taxed in light of our momentum out there in the communities and some of the success we've had in capacity building. But we're facing our limits now. So love to have your backing and your affinity there on how you can help deal with some of these increases that come our way, especially on the communications level. So with that, Madam Chair, I've finished.
Thank you so much. I think the words that you shared with us really important. But we have a tight, time. So I'd like to call, and we're going to save, because I've already written down 2 questions that I have for you too. So we will get back to that. But if we bring up the first panel, 250 across the Commonwealth, that would be Commissioner Christian Leinbach, Michael Numis, Dawn Lameth, and Brian Tate. After each of the panels, we will have a Q&A time for that, but we are going to still try to keep within our guidelines for time because the House is in session today and we start at noon, so we have to be finished before that. Commissioner Leinbach, do you want to go first?
Yes, thank you, Chairwoman Daley, Chairman James, members of the House Tourism, Recreation, Economic Development Committee. Thank you for the opportunity to present. It was on July 8, 1776 that a lone bell rang out from the Berks County Courthouse in downtown Reading. That sound gathered the people of Reading and Berks County for the very first public reading of the Declaration of Independence. It is believed that Sheriff Henry Vanderslice stood before the crowd and read the entire document, proclaiming the birth of a new nation built on the promise of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness for all people. That same Liberty Bell now rests in the Berks County Services Center on loan from the Berks County History Center. Since 2023, we've gathered each July 8th to recreate that historic moment, reading the Declaration aloud and in its entirety, including portions of the Declaration in German and Spanish to reflect the diversity of our 18th century and 21st century communities. That legacy of patriotism and pride is deeply woven into the fabric of Berks County. On June 10th of 2021, we became the first county in the Commonwealth to adopt a resolution recognizing America 250 PA. That resolution wasn't just symbolic. We put real support behind it. It established the Berks County America 250 PA Committee and allocated public funding to help us turn ideas into action. Reading also stepped up early and became the first municipality in Pennsylvania to pass a resolution of its own. That early leadership helped spark a growing movement that now has taken root in communities across Pennsylvania. Our local America 250 PA Berks County Committee is composed entirely of volunteers who meet monthly and coordinate events and programs that engage the public and celebrate the upcoming Semiquincentennial. To help with that outreach, we've launched a dedicated website, America250PABerks.com, where community members can learn more, get involved, and follow along as we approach 2026. At the heart of everything we do is a simple idea. All people are created equal and endowed with God-given rights that cannot and should not be taken away. That's the true spirit of 1776. It's what our events, our programs, and our outreach efforts try to bring to life for every resident of Berks County. In 1858, Abraham Lincoln urged, "Now, my countrymen, if you have been taught doctrines conflicting with the great landmarks of the Declaration of Independence, if you have been inclined to believe that all men, people, are not created equal in those inalienable rights enumerated by our Chart of Liberty, let me entreat you to come back, return to the fountain whose waters spring close by the blood of the Revolution." The work of America 250 PA and America 250 PA Berks is about bringing those founding ideas to life so that every generation in every community can experience the promise of the Declaration for all Americans. Today, I come before you to say that now, more than ever, we need to point ourselves, our neighbors, our Commonwealth, and our nation back to the core tenets of the Declaration. Through America 250 PA, we are doing just that. Yes, we are celebrating our heritage, but we are also remembering and reminding our nation that the price of liberty is eternal vigilance. America 250 PA and America 250 PA Berks are part of that eternal vigilance, so necessary to preserve freedom and liberty for future generations of Pennsylvanians and Americans. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Numis?
Thank you. Thank you, Chair Daly and Chair James. Given that you have my written testimony, I'll just speak very briefly. Many familiar faces, but for those who I'm meeting for the first time, I'll just briefly introduce myself. I'm Michael Numis, 2026 Director for the City of Philadelphia under Mayor Sherrill Parker. Prior to this role, I was leading philanthropy for FS Investments, a $100 billion asset management firm in Pennsylvania. And then prior to that, I was Chief of Staff at Visit Philadelphia, where I got to work on some major events, including the Papal Visit, the NFL Draft, and others. Nothing will compare to what we're about to see over the next 16 months for Philadelphia and the Commonwealth. I mean, just imagine, before we welcome millions of fans and visitors for the World Cup, including a July 4th knockout round, for the MLB All-Star Game, for citywide art festivals, for major exhibitions across museums galore, we're gonna roll out the red carpet for America's bravest by hosting the 250th anniversaries of not only the United States Army, founded in Philadelphia, but also the United States Navy and Marines. You know, for 1 week, we will have NASDAQ ringing their bell aboard one of the 8 ships docked in Philadelphia. As Blue Angels fly over our city, we welcome 30,000 veterans for an incredible parade that transforms into a nationally televised concert. And at the core of everything we're doing, the youth will be central. Because for us, 2026 is about so much more than hosting an event. It's about bringing the country together around that which unites us and inspiring the next generation to not only have an appreciation for service and citizenry, but to really realize their role in co-creating the future of our great country. And that's why for Philadelphia and Mayor Sherrill Parker, our charge is to ensure that the spirit of celebration reaches every corner of our great city, including our neighborhoods outside of the downtown corridors. And that's why we're going to be making incredible investments to transform not one, not two, but 20 commercial corridors and driving folks, driving our tourism, driving the economic impact out there, while concurrently working with our shoulder counties who we convene, our shoulder counties, who we convene in our regular marketing committee meetings to align our messaging to make sure that we can spread that beyond Philadelphia. Because 2026, for the nation's birthplace, is about so much more than just Philadelphia. It's about hosting a celebration worthy of all Americans. And we are working to that end. We're working across our leadership at both the city, the state, as well as with Congress, right? Last week I was pleased to meet with former Treasury Secretary Rosie Rios, and we're about to announce a really incredible, invigorating partnership to bring a national time capsule to Philadelphia that doesn't honor Philadelphia, but it honors Pennsylvania's role in the founding of our great nation, while also working with the Presidential Task Force, who recently provided incredible assistance to help align the resources necessary to restore one of our first cultural World Heritage Sites, Independence Hall. We are working arduously because we do view 2026 as the greatest opportunity in modern history to set a catalytic vision that doesn't just end in 2026, but it really leverages the 250th to set a bold vision for the next 250 years. So thank you for your leadership to that end. We are so pleased. Our mayor has provided a $100 million commitment across beautification, across providing for the various events that will take place, but really importantly, also public safety infrastructure. Because for 2026, as we're hosting these incredible major events and small neighborhood gatherings, we want to make sure that everyone can do so safely and that we can really inspire, right? Inspire the world about what America is, what we can be, and how we can each play a role in that. So thank you for your leadership in driving forward the 250th, and thank you for calling for this such important hearing to help educate others about the opportunity that is before us.
Thank you. Ms. Lamuth.
Good morning. We're going to move across the state to Westmoreland County, Western Pennsylvania. I'm here to represent the great Laurel Highland region, which is Westmoreland, Somerset, and Fayette counties. I'm the advisor for Westmoreland County, but I also represent our region because it is our goal to promote locally and regionally to get people to visit our side of the state after they visit Philadelphia. America's birthday party has actually already started in Westmoreland County. We're gearing up to celebrate the Hannastown Resolves, which celebrate their 250th anniversary next month on May 17th, because in 1775, a group of frontiers people united and joined forces to write one of the very first written testimonies against British tyranny. So we're gearing up to have a big party and a big commemoration in Westmoreland County. One of the things we're trying to do is to engage some more young people, engage the broader community by having a 5K race, and going beyond the regular reenactments that we typically do. We're also participating in the Bells Across PA initiative, creating a fiberglass bell that is going to be a glass mosaic that will be at the Westmoreland Museum of American Art. And we're going to be unveiling that in August of 2025. So I hope that you will all join us in our side of the state, and I would welcome you to visit and tour any of our local historical sites. The Laurel Highlands are uniquely positioned to attract visitors and encourage PA 250 celebrations. We are joining together as 3 counties to do so. And with that in mind, we're also partnering with the William G. Pomeroy Foundation to create a Laurel Highlands Heritage Trail of historical markers. In 2023, we saw the highest level of visitor spending of $2 billion. And this year, we're hoping to attract more visitors and keep that momentum going into 2026. Before the revolution, Westmoreland had resolve, and we still do, and we hope to keep that momentum going. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Tate?
Yes, thank you to the chair and committee for the opportunity to testify on behalf of America 250 PA and York County. My name is Brian Tate, and I serve as the York County Register of Wills and Clerk of Orphans Court, the York County representative to America 250 PA, and the chair of the York County Semiquincentennial Commission. In York County, we're proudly championing History Made Here, a multi-year celebration of 3 significant anniversaries: York County's 275th birthday, which we celebrated last summer on August 19th, the 250th anniversary of American independence, which we will be celebrating next year, and the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Articles of Confederation in York, November 15th, and we'll be celebrating that in 2027. So we're very excited about all of our efforts, which have brought us together, a diverse and growing committee of local leaders with strong engagement from municipalities, school districts, nonprofits, and community groups. We launched HistoryMadeHere.com, hosted by Explore York, with a countywide calendar of events powered by York365.com and the Cultural Alliance of York County. And both of those will live well beyond our celebrations. Thanks to funding support from DCED and Explore York, we installed beautifully designed boulevard banners in communities across the county. The brand new York County History Center opened in August 2024 with a weekend of free admission and events, kicking off History Made Here. Local historian Jim McClure launched a special edition of his book, Never to Be Forgotten, and his book tour continues through our celebrations. For the county's 275th birthday last summer, we hosted a series of community events, including a block party at Wellspan Park, a celebratory York Revolution baseball game, a community-created mural installation, a birthday showcase at the Appel Center, a formal reading of York County's founding act, and the ringing of bells across the county, led by the bell in the York County Administrative Center Dome, a remembrance of the original proclamation of being the first county west of the Susquehanna. Last October, York proudly hosted the America 250 PA Commission board meeting and planted a certified liberty tree near the replica Colonial Courthouse where the Articles of Confederation were adopted. We're currently gearing up for the installation of 6 bells across Pennsylvania, sponsored by First Energy and local private foundations, including the Powder Mill Foundation and Gladfelder Foundation. 6 York County artists will decorate the fiberglass bells at the Cultural Alliance's warehouse, and once finished, the bells will be installed at sites across the county. Especially notable will be the installation of York's full-sized bronze semiquin bell at Camp Security, our nation's only remaining undeveloped Revolutionary War POW site. This bell, distinct from the fiberglass installations elsewhere, represents a major local investment of more than $250,000 raised by our community and those same private foundations, and will serve as a lasting tribute to York County's role in our nation's founding. Additional local initiatives include a municipal quilt representing all 72 municipalities, and a tree planting effort across all 72 by local Rotary clubs, both celebrating our shared heritage. As we gear up for major events in 2026 and 2027, we're calling on local organizations to create their own events that reflect their community's unique role in our nation's story, and to help those across our community to celebrate. Posting those events to York365.com helps make sure they're part of the broader celebration happening across York County. Thank you for the opportunity to share York County's contributions to America 250 PA. We're proud to be a part of this once-in-a-generation effort. Thank you.
Thank you all. And Chair James, I hear you have a question.
I'm interested because you put so much time and effort into getting ready for this event. What is your estimate of the number of folks who are going to visit here in 2026 from all over the planet?
I think he's asking Philadelphia.
We have a few different estimates, right? So the World Cup alone, a minimum of 500,000, but we're expecting millions across our array of events. We also have 20 citywide festivals that are generating an estimated economic impact of $1 billion all in. But, you know, you can't underestimate, and this is the one thing that we're really leaning towards as we think through our public safety. of how many people would be willing to travel just for the sacred honor of experiencing the 250th birthplace of the nation in the nation's birthplace, right? Even if you don't have a ticket, just showing up so that you can experience the memory that so many may have felt for the bicentennial, right? And the one key thing about that is you may remember where you were, you may remember who you were with, but you likely won't remember the name of the organization that founded it or helped to drive that, which is why it's so important that every organization here have the resources necessary to succeed.
That answer you?
It did, thank you. You're going to need Western Pennsylvania for space, so they'll be able to.
Come on in, the water's warm.
Representative
I really don't have a question, but I did want to make a comment when I think about this. As I look around the room, I'm not going to bring out anybody's age, but I was one that was in first grade in 2076. And what is important about that, to me, is that we really are going to bring out patriotism. What we did in 2076, am I saying this right? 1976, I said that wrong. In 1976, I remember the patriotism we had and what I did that day, or actually that whole year in school. Not specifically everything, but I do remember a lot. And I know that that's what instilled my appreciation of where I live, the country I live in. So my goal from all this and listening today and hoping everybody understands that is we have the chance here to make a difference in this country and make everybody understand where we come from and where we need to go in the future. So thank you very much.
We have two more people with questions. Representative Young.
So thank you all for your testimonies. Cassandra, I'll ask you a question later offline because I'm about to leave soon. But given the current climate of where we are now in America, right, let's just face it, it's a little concerning for a lot of people. Have you pivoted your approach to recruiting people to attend such events? If so, how? And if not, is that something you will consider, and what would that look like?
I mean, from the beginning of our planning, and I'll echo the Berks County, which is that my committee is made up of people throughout my county from a lot of different organizations, a lot of different perspectives, all volunteers, and that would be the same in all three counties in the Laurel Highlands. Our message has been from the beginning that we are starting our celebration now in 2025, going into 2026. We want to just keep driving that momentum, and I'm actually making plans for 2027, if you can imagine that. But we've welcomed all people, all stories, trying to uncover untold stories. That's been our message from the beginning, and that hasn't changed at all. In fact, I think it's probably more earnest than ever before.
I'd like to add that while we also are celebrating multiple years of anniversaries in York County, one of the signatures of what we're doing is asking all groups in our community to plan their own events. We don't want to tell everybody how to celebrate. We don't want to tell everybody what is the best way to be an American. So we're inviting everybody to create their own celebrations and then upload them to York365.com so that anybody can participate. It's all about making all of us proud to be American.
Representative Young, we get often asked the question of how do you inspire a spirit of celebration at a time when the country can sometimes feel fraught? And we can't lose sight of that reality, but for Philadelphia, we're not letting it give us a reason to not celebrate all that brings us together, which is precisely why we are making sure that we offer a slate of programs that really unites people. But concurrent with that, we are actively engaged with our marketing partner to provide consumer sentiment studies across the country to realize where people are and align our messaging in a way that will help to not only educate people about the opportunity about 2026, but help to really convert them to the opportunity to be a part of the solutions that they feel necessary for their communities by celebrating all that, the richness that we do have.
From the beginning, the focus in Berks County has been around the core principles of the Declaration. and that is, if you're a human being, you are entitled to the rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Our committee is very reflective of our community. Our activities are very reflective of our community. And I'm proud of the message, but I will tell you, I think all of us on all sides, that's why I said first, I point to myself, where I need to remind myself, it's being a human being. That's the only class that matters. It's not race, it's not religion, it's not ethnicity, it's not gender. It's being a human being, and we need to start treating our fellow human beings the way they deserve to be treated based on their guarantee of life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness.
Representative Sepulveda-Paredes.
Good morning, and thank you for the hard work, because I know in Berks County, you've been at this for quite some years, and it is very reflective of our community. So thank you, and I just want to commend everyone for the efforts and the support, because I think it is important to celebrate our history, right? And the folks who have led us here. I do have some questions. And I want to thank you to Chairwoman Cassandra and former Governor, okay, Mark. That's fine. Is that okay? Okay. So I'm fascinated by the whole bells throughout the 67 counties. Is there some type of visitor's guide that highlights that for people both living in Pennsylvania and those that may be visiting, in terms of where they can go see these bells? I don't know if that would be a great marketing strategy to lure people to the boroughs and towns and smaller areas that have contributed to the history. And I say that because I was recently, a few weekends ago, I visited some friends in Bucks County, and I was just, I went, so I have a friend who loves to preserve historic properties, and I was able to visit some cottages or properties that, I mean, wow, I was amazed by the historic pieces in these homes, and combined with the modern world. But also, she purchased this general store on Durham Road across the second oldest post office in the United States. And I was just, as I'm visiting and I'm chatting and I'm looking at all the artifacts and things that she has in this general store, I'm like, are you working with your Visitors Bureau? Right? So that leads me to my question as to what is the role of the Visitors Bureau and how are they maximizing on this? And because, right, this is also an economic boost, right, to our communities. And there's just so much to discover here in Pennsylvania. And oftentimes I find that as residents, we don't take pride in where we come from and the beauty of our Commonwealth. So I kind of want to get a sense of what can we do better to help promote what we have right in our backyard, so that our children start having that pride that us adults have. I know I asked a lot of questions and I said a whole lot.
One quick thing, we are kicking off a Passport to Berks County History May the 1st. It will be going out in a magazine that we distribute to about 85,000 households, and it will go from May 1st to August 15th. And encourages people to go to historical locations throughout Berks County, get a stamp, and learn about Berks County history. That's one of the ways that we're doing it within the county.
It's nice that you were in Bucks County. Let me know next time. I'll give you a personal effort on the tour. I'll give you an A and a B. The A is, you're all into this. We're into this too. So to speak, the citizens, the masses, just kind of coming around to this. I think we've done a super job over the last number of months, the last 2 years, but they're not. Residents, Pennsylvanians, are beginning to pay attention and tuning in. So it's prime time, certainly over the next 16 months. So your question is not just an insightful one, it's a timely one. So the communication aspect for all of this, and what I call positive expectational pressures to our different affiliate groups to begin to talk about it, to begin to point not just to July 4th, 2026, but programmatically on the calendar, what have you got in mind? I think urging them now, that the proverbial them, behooves us all, and I think there'll be great reward to it. So, in addition, I think, Cass, why don't you talk about the bells? I mean, we need more integration of the many venues and stops and places you could visit too.
So just very quickly, I know, so we are working with Visit PA. So ultimately, all of the bells that are placed, there's 108 total across the Commonwealth, will be on the Visit Pennsylvania as well as the America 250 PA website. There will be a map for folks, again, encouraging them to go and find the bells. We'll gamify it to really let them learn about the stories behind them. And that's funny that you said about Durham Road, because I was actually just at that post office last month as we awarded the Durham Historical Society a Semiquin grant for the new ore. So I know exactly where you were talking about, but yes, we are working hand in hand with tourism.
And can I just make one more remark, which is I actually work for the Go Laurel Highlands Visitors Bureau, and I'm the Director of Community and Culture Connections. So the local tourism bureaus are very, very interested in connecting with all of these events, and it's very much something that they are committed to supporting and driving tourism in that respect. It's really a great opportunity. One of the things that we're doing with our Semiquin grant of $20,000 is creating activation boxes, which we are pushing out to all of our cultural partners, all of our municipalities, to give them resources so they can plan their own events. So there will be some symmetry and inspiration that we can share with them. So there's a lot of interest, and I would encourage everybody to network. You know, this is all about making those connections.
I was just going to add real quick that in York, I'd mentioned Explore York being one of our major partners, but also the Cultural Alliance and our York365.com community calendar. It's just now launching its first public art map, which the bells will be included on, as well as all of our other art assets across the county. So that will live forever. So we're enthusiastic about including America 250 PA as part of it.
And I just want to make one quick comment that Governor Schweiker talked about leveraging our communications, and I had jotted down that that's something that we're going to want to talk about when it gets to be time to bring Cassandra and the governor back. But I think it's a really good conversation. I think because the reason we added economic development to the name of this committee instead of just tourism and recreation, because tourism and recreation are both economic drivers for the Commonwealth, and it's really important that we all remember that. And so I think I know a lot of members have left, but they probably have other committee meetings that they're required to go, you know, because everybody's juggling around here all the time. So I think the conversation can extend beyond even today's hearing. It's something that I think we're all really interested in. And we may be doing a tour down to the Laurel Caverns, which I think may be near the Laurel Highlands. It's in the Laurel Highlands. So, and we're always interested in doing tours to Gettysburg just because it's such an amazing spot. But one of the problems we have as a committee is there's I think about 25 members of the committee, and it's really difficult to get us all together to go to some place for 3 days. Not that we don't like spending those 3 days together, but people just have their own schedules that they have to keep. So we're going to keep working on this because I think this has gone really well. I don't want to talk anymore right now because we're way past 10:45 for the next panel. So we have 3 people on this next panel who are going to be virtual. But if Dennis could come up to the table, and Andre Castillo, and we'll start with the third panel. Actually, the second panel. And who? Laura's virtual. Yeah. So Laura Sosik, you are going to be the first testifier for this group. And my understanding is you're doing this virtually?
Yes, I'm here. Is it useful that I'm camera on or off?
Oh, it doesn't matter, is what I'm being told. Oh, no, this is great to have you on camera. Some of us have to turn around, though.
Hi, here I am. I'm able to be here from my 2nd grade classroom, so I really appreciate the opportunity to be here virtually. Is it okay to begin?
Yes, yes, please.
Okay. My name is Laura Sosik. I'm a second grade teacher in the Scranton School District, and I'm very happy to be here today to share a little about our experience with KCI. Our beautifully diverse student body is made up of students from around the world whose families make their homes here in the beautiful state of Pennsylvania. Each year, I have the opportunity to help my students understand their roles in society and how they can make choices that impact history. I also get to help them discover how events of the past shaped our lives today. This understanding is pivotal, as these very students will grow to become the future of this world. When we first became one of the selected schools for the Keystone Classroom Initiative, I knew that America 250's statewide outreach and storytelling would be perfect for my K to 4th grade school building. The program builds awareness and excitement around the 250th anniversary of the United States while helping students learn about Pennsylvania's pivotal role in American history. It can sometimes be hard to generate excitement about history, especially with 4th graders. And if anyone in here knows and loves a 4th grade student, you know what I'm talking about. So the fact that KCI combines age-appropriate historical reenactors, storytellers, mascots, and local figures to deliver interactive educational experiences was hugely attractive. Our learners went wild for the mascots and the swag bag. Our Gray Wolves still love wearing those America 250 PA t-shirts and telling stories about the event. I just passed Gisetta, who's wearing her t-shirt just today. Our 650 students here at Isaac Tripp Elementary are so lucky to have been part of the over 30,000 students that have participated in KCI experiences, and I cannot overstate how impactful the experience was for our students. Through a live historical reenactment of Henry Box Brown's remarkable escape from slavery, our students engaged directly with history. They made complex subjects like slavery and the Underground Railroad accessible and age-appropriate. The program encouraged empathy, critical thinking, and an appreciation for Pennsylvania's role in the fight for freedom, which are character traits that we instill here in our Gray Wolves each and every day. Our younger learners shared a beautiful story time with members of our community. It was heartwarming to see the community volunteers engage and connect with our students, and the kids still ask us to read K is for Keystone. But my students always remind me that our community reader, Mr. Drew, read it better. And if you know Drew, you know they're right. KCI connects young Pennsylvanians to their shared heritage in meaningful, memorable ways. And this is because the experience of KCI goes far beyond the traditional curriculum. It's a transformative experience that transports students to critical moments in history to help them deeply understand how these moments changed the trajectory of human life. Programs like KCI are building the next generation of engaged citizens as we approach the 250th anniversary in 2026. It is my sincere hope that my students will still carry these memories in 2076, when Pennsylvania and the rest of the country celebrate the tricentennial. And maybe I'll be lucky enough to talk about it with them. As an educator, it is my hope that my students grow to become strong, successful, empathetic knowledge seekers who believe that they can change the world. And it's programs like KCI that help to get them there. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Laura. Dennis, you are the next person on my list.
Thank you very much for having me. It's an honor to speak on behalf of America 250 PA. Excuse my voice. I'm going to talk about the impact on America 250 PA, I think nationwide, and of course on the Commonwealth, and more personally on the Dennis Farm Charitable Land Trust. I don't know how many of you know about the Dennis Farm, but it's my family's property. It dates back to 1793 when my ancestors came to what was then still a part of Connecticut, but was fought over by Connecticut and Pennsylvania settlers. It's now northeast Pennsylvania, but they came from Connecticut with the first wave of settlers after the American Revolution and settled there. They were free people. They passed the farm down through the family. The gentleman pictured here married into the family. He was a veteran of the Revolution, and he is buried on the farm. And I based this book on his Revolutionary War pension file, which I found in the National Archives. I say this to point out why we are very much a part of what America 250 celebrates. American democracy for all people, because they were free African Americans in a county where people don't really think there are African Americans. It's now Susquehanna County. It was for a while part of Luzerne County until 1810. You have to excuse my voice. My breath goes out on me sometimes. Anyway, we are so pleased to be a part of this because my family, from the Revolution onward, and even before the Revolution, are very much a part of what this event is about. And Pennsylvania enabled my family to have the American dream long before most African Americans had it. Indeed, when they bought their property, 90% of African Americans were enslaved. Only 10 were free. And my family lived in that area of this Commonwealth for over 200 years as neighbors and friends. We're in all the local history books, and we're very much a part of the fabric of that community. So when I met with Cassandra several years back, and she told me that she gave me her overview of what America 250 PA would be about, and she was very specific. She told me she planned to include all 67 counties in this celebration. Well, I live in Philadelphia today, and appropriately, Philadelphia is usually what one thinks about when one thinks about 1776 and the Constitutional Convention in 1787. But I grew up in Northeast Pennsylvania. I grew up in Wilkes-Barre, which is about 40 miles from the Dennis farm, and we would go to the farm in the summers. So when Cassandra told me that you would be inclusive, and in this sense, inclusivity meant the whole Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, not just a few counties, I thought this is for me. People don't know that there was a Revolutionary War battle in Luzerne County, the Battle of Wyoming. Excuse me, my voice is really going out today. But Cassandra, as you know, has been true to her word. Her committee, or this committee, has brought together leaders from business, education, and cultural organizations, as well as local and state governments, from the Alleghenies to the Poconos, who otherwise might not have met. I've met so many people from around the Commonwealth through America 250 PA that it has broadened my love for PA, which was already pretty deep. At the event last fall in Philadelphia, the National America 250 event, I met some of the executive directors who were there visiting. And Cassandra, I don't want to embarrass you, but they praised you and said you were the model. You are the gold standard for how to do this. And I don't make stories up. This is true. It has been my privilege to be directly involved with 2 America 250 PA initiatives. For 3 years, I've served as a judge for the annual Direct Effect and Innovation Challenge, the contest it has been already alluded to, where college and university students from every county come and they design and present original marketing plans for specific themes to raise awareness of and engage young Pennsylvanians in America 250 PA. And these kids are so creative, so bright, so enthusiastic. I've heard of colleges and universities I didn't even know existed that is a joy to look at the future of this Commonwealth through the young people who participate in this challenge. They are our future. Most personally significant to me, to us, is that in 2023, the Dennis Farm was honored to receive America 250 PA's first Semiquincentennial bell. And if any of you have seen the film, I look horrible because I start to cry and my makeup smears and I look even older than I sound. And that's pretty old. I was around. You were one in 1976? You were in first grade? I won't even tell you what I was doing in 1976. I was more than around. Believe me. The Dennis Farm is listed on the National Register of Historic Places. It has been recognized. Some of our artifacts are in the Smithsonian. We've been recognized. We won the Chairman's Award for the National Endowment for the Humanities. We've received grants from the PHMC and also the National Trust for Historic Preservation. The National Endowment for the Humanities said when they researched us, they didn't find any farm comparable to the Dennis Farm in the United States, a property that was purchased by free African Americans more than 200 years ago that has remained in the stewardship of the same family. And what they don't know is that that is a largely white community, and we're in all the local history books because we were so much a part of that community. At least my ancestors were. In the family cemetery, you should know are veterans of the American Revolution, the War of 1812, and the Civil War. Having the Semiquincentennial bell on the farm has greatly enhanced the historical significance of the farm, and it has furthered our efforts. We have tours, we have educational programs, we partner with schools, we partnered with Penn State, Binghamton University in New York, a number of schools for programs, academic programs. I mean, I could give you more schools. But having the bell, now people gravitate. They come to see the bell. We've had visitors already from different countries and different states, from as far away as Hawaii and California. And as the NEH told me, the more people know about this, they will come to see it. Because it's the best of America. And it's right here in Pennsylvania. It's a place where, it's not a dirty word these days, but where diversity really worked. And where people were treated as equals, with respect. And the land and the beautiful cemetery surrounded by stone walls, they attest to this. You can't erase the land. By honoring the Dennis Farm with the first Semiquincentennial bell, Pennsylvania has stood up big time. America 250 PA has recognized that from our nation's earliest days, you know, my voice never goes out like this, but from our nation's earliest days, this Commonwealth and the Dennis Farm have been a living symbol of freedom and justice for all. We don't have to say that we're a DEI farm. We just are an American farm that has represented the diversity of this great nation from the beginning, and now we have opened it to the public. And America 250 PA has said, we see you, we recognize you, and we respect what you're doing. So thank you. And if we're here to make you continue to fund this, do it. It's my honor to speak to all of you, and I invite you all to visit the farm. And we're still raising money to have our farmhouse, 200-year-old farmhouse, turned into a sort of, we can't call it a museum because there's less funding for museums. So we're just calling it a historic site open to the public. But you can see the grounds, 153 acres. My fellow alumni, if you don't come up, you got to come. You're invited. So, thank you. No, Jared, you got to come. We went to the same college. He went there many years after I did. But anyway, I'm finished. My brother laughed when I told him the time limit. He said, they expect you to talk for 2 or 3 minutes. You have no idea. You're getting off easy. But thank you very, very much.
Denise Dennis, thank you so much for being here today. I'm really glad that you were here. So we are going to move to Commissioner Fritz Lecker, who is going to be virtual. And can you just make the speaker? I think you're on mute. Try again. Go to the next person. The next person is Claire Chi. Does she know we're skipping?
Mute.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Claire.
Now we're
Okay.
Sorry, this is Claire Chi, who is next. Apparently, the prior person was having a problem with getting through. Okay, you have
Good
the floor.
morning. Good morning, everyone. My name is Claire Chi. I had the privilege of interning with America 250 PA in the past, and I am thrilled to be returning as an intern this summer to continue our critical progress of honoring our Commonwealth and country for the Semiquincentennial. As a State Board of Education student representative from 2022 to 2024, I had the honor of representing the 1.7 million K-12 students in our Commonwealth. During this term, I interacted with over 1,000 students, policymakers, and stakeholders by directing the Pennsylvania's Department of Education Student for Education in Pennsylvania Advisory Council and representing Pennsylvania as a U.S. Senate Youth Delegate. I have learned that the key to sustainable, meaningful impact is intergenerational partnership, especially when celebrating Pennsylvania's role in the founding of the United States of America. I have seen and been part of the efforts America 250 PA makes to reach all communities. For instance, when visiting schools for the Keystone Classroom Initiative, I read to, danced with, and gave countless high fives in classrooms in cities, farm towns, and everything in between. Together, we will engage 50,000 students by 2026. America 250 PA has always fulfilled its commitment to serve individuals no matter their age, zip code, identity, and political affiliation. I continue to hear from both adults and children about how this initiative has touched and inspired them. America 250 PA is not only making a memorable impact, but also making history. One of the most exciting events in 2024 for me in Pennsylvania was the Little League World Series parade, in which we marched with 40,000 people in attendance. Looking ahead to 2026, Pennsylvania will be making a splash with the NFL draft, the MLB All-Star Game, and the FIFA World Cup. America 250 PA will play a vital part in highlighting significant events such as these. I've also been involved in several other initiatives, including leading food bank volunteers on Pennsylvania Day and organizing the national convening for some of the most influential leaders in the U.S. America 250 PA has inspired young people like me to pursue a lifetime of public service. At the same time, it fosters a transformative culture of appreciation and hope for the Keystone State. America 250 PA is a powerfully inclusive and impactful movement to recognize our journey, engage all 67 counties, and inspire the future of our nation. In essence, it is creating and commemorating a historic moment that all generations can embrace. I am PA proud of what America 250 PA has already accomplished, and I know that it will continue to be deeply empowering to communities across our Commonwealth. Let's ensure that Pennsylvania remains at the heart of this national celebration. Thank you.
Thank you, Claire. Appreciate that very much. Next, we'll call on Andre Castillo. Did I pronounce that properly?
Yes, Castillo, correct. Hello, everyone. I am incredibly grateful for the opportunity to share just how much participating in the Direct Effect Innovation Challenge in 2022 has impacted not only my professional, but my personal life. Looking back, I can confidently say that that experience became the launching pad for everything I've accomplished since and truly set the foundation for my career. When I first entered the DEIC competition, I had no idea what was waiting for me on the other side. I was simply hoping to challenge myself, but what I gained was so much greater than I could have ever imagined. The competition didn't just sharpen my skills, it taught me patience, perseverance, and most importantly, the power of collaboration. Working alongside people with different backgrounds, cultures, and perspectives showed me that that diversity is what drives innovation forward and allows us to create something truly special together. Even though I didn't win the competition, America 250 PA still saw potential in me, and they offered me an internship that quickly turned into one of the most transformative experiences of my life. It was through that opportunity that I was able to grow, learn, and eventually land my first full-time professional role as the Engagement and Volunteer Coordinator with America 250 PA. This role has completely changed the way I view work. It's no longer about clocking in and out or earning a paycheck. It's about passion, purpose, and making an impact in the lives of others. It has given me the chance to connect with people, serve communities, and fall in love with the work I do every day. It didn't just teach me about Pennsylvania's history, it allowed me to walk through it. Through my role, I've had the incredible privilege of traveling to various counties all across the Commonwealth, meeting Pennsylvanians of all generations and all walks of life, and witnessing firsthand just how impactful this organization is to every single person, no matter their age, race, background, or story. As a proud son of immigrant parents and a first-generation college student, I never imagined I'd be given an opportunity like this. Growing up, opportunities like these often felt distant or out of reach, but America 250 PA created a space where all stories, experiences, and voices matter. I'm beyond excited to continue this journey leading into 2026 to celebrate Pennsylvania's rich history while helping build an even brighter future for all those who call this Commonwealth a home. And I would also be remiss if I didn't take a moment to thank two people who have played such a pivotal role in my journey, our Executive Director, Cassandra Coleman, and our Chairman, Patrick Burns. Thank you both for your leadership, your guidance, and for creating opportunities for all Pennsylvanians to lead and to give back to a Commonwealth we all care so deeply about. This experience has reminded me that when passion meets purpose, work becomes so much more than just a job. It becomes a calling, and I'm honored to be a part of it. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your testimony. My sense is that we should probably skip the Q&A unless anybody has a question. And do we know why the commissioner wasn't able to get on?
We're just going to keep moving, and one of my team members is on the phone with her trying to help her.
Great,
So
okay.
We're moving through, and hopefully she can,
All right,
come off mute.
all right, thank you. So thank you, Andre, for your testimony. The final panel, panel number 3 with the why, we're going to hear from Dave Sanko, Representative Valerie Gatos, Jean Barr, and Representative Jared Solomon. And the agendas had Bill DeRosiers from Coterra Energy, and he is not feeling well today, so will not be joining us. And I hate to do this, this always happens with the final panel, that you don't get as much time. But, so if you can keep your remarks, and then we will still have a little bit of time to do Q&A, which I think is also really helpful. But we don't make it think we don't really appreciate your presence here today. You get that? Okay. Dave Sanko.
Thank you. Chair Daly, Chair James, members of the committee, thanks for the opportunity to talk with the committee on this important topic. I'm Dave Sanko. I'm the Executive Director of the State Association of Township Supervisors, more affectionately known as PSETs. We represent nearly 1,500 townships across Pennsylvania. We're a nonprofit, nonpartisan organization dedicated to preserving local government. Townships cover 95% of Pennsylvania's land mass and represent on nearly 6 million people, more than any other type of local government. In just over a year, we're going to be celebrating the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence, but this celebration extends beyond a single day, as we've heard, and certainly far beyond the streets of Philadelphia. PSATs joined the partnership of America 250 early on because we believe that the shadow of Independence Hall stretches across every township and borough and county across the Commonwealth. And our communities were the backdrop for the revolution, hosting the very geography and the spirit that gave rise to our independence. Local municipalities are, in effect, the patchwork quilt, if you will, the fabric of America that was woven here in Pennsylvania. Local government, local democracy, not Democrat, not Republican, just patriots intent on serving. Pennsylvania is renowned for the history that has shaped the Americas. Numerous historical sites and battlefields, cemeteries, barns, all across Pennsylvania. As we approach the anniversary, history is on everyone's mind, but a lot of townships have hundreds have adopted resolutions in support of America 250, and many more are preparing for their own semi-quincentennial celebrations. And why are townships so invested? Well, Pennsylvania is the home to some of the most historic events, from Ben Franklin overseeing the construction of the frontier forts in the 1750s, to militias drilling in open fields, forges, munition forges, manufacturing cannons, and George Washington crossing the Delaware, as Governor Schweiker indicated. Our townships are rich in the history and stories that are both well known. A couple examples: East Pikeland Township in Chester County, recently added to the National Register for Historic Places, discovered the Continental Powder Works years ago. In cooperation with the Park Service, those townships uncovered structures dating back to the Revolutionary War, including a dam, mill race, and a powder mill. Those powder works supplied the Continental Army with 2 tons of powder and thousands of gun locks each week. When the British located the site, General Washington moved much of the supply north, but the British and Hessian forces eventually destroyed those buildings. Turning to mid-state, Northumberland County, Delaware Township is home to the historic Warrior Run Church and its cemetery. The current church was constructed in 1835 after the previous one was burned, the log structure. The cemetery is the final resting place for 77 veterans of the Revolutionary War, 13 veterans of the War of 1812, 1 from the Mexican War and 10 from the Civil War. Nearby, the Howard Sloat house owned by the Warrior Run School Mark has 2 memorial markers honoring those who fought in the Battle of Fort Freeland, which was fought on the property. Buffalo Township in Washington County, Western Pennsylvania, passed a resolution last year endorsing the America 250 efforts and celebrating the 250th anniversary of the first settlers in the area that would become Buffalo Township. James Wolfe built one of the first forts, appropriately named Wolfe's Fort, where local settlers took refuge during attacks by Indians from the Ohio country, led by British officers. Townships played a critical role in America's 250th. Each township has something unique to offer, whether it be a historical location or notable individuals. The passion and pride that we're seeing in these communities prove that it isn't just a celebration for Philadelphia. It's a chance for every Pennsylvanian to feel connected to the Commonwealth's shared history. As an organization, we've asked all of our townships to join in the celebration by exploring their local history from revolutionary times and beyond. We've encouraged them to reach out to their local historical societies, their chapters of the Daughters of American Revolution, the Sons of the American Revolution, and talk with them. While some suggest that history is being lost to development or neglect, I think there are others that know much of our history is preserved in the books, lectures, and the very buildings and barns that house the stories of our nation's history. We appreciate the funding that the legislature has provided and the private sector to commemorate this fantastic journey, as well as the support of all living governors. Not only was Pennsylvania integral to the American Revolution, but we led the agricultural revolution, the industrial revolution, and the energy revolution. Big oil or big coal or big steel, you name it, Pennsylvania has been on the front line of every revolution for the past 250 years. In just 30 days, we're going to be bringing together 3,500 of our members in Hershey for our annual conference, where we will again talk with them about the America 250, the Pennsylvania celebration. This celebration, the anniversary of the Declaration of Independence, is an opportunity for all of our townships to reflect on their unique contribution. And by actively participating in the initiative, we can ensure that the rich heritage of Pennsylvania is celebrated and preserved for future generations. So we'd encourage everyone to come together to honor our past, inspire pride in our shared history, and chart a course for future generations. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Gatos.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Cassandra, for being here, and Governor, appreciate it. So, you know, I want to answer the question why. What is the why? It is, for me personally, I came onto the commission as a commissioner in 2023, so I was somewhat already into the whole process. It was founded in 2018, I believe, with legislation. Is that right, Jared? 2018? And of course, you know, we faced COVID, some other things that you know, was a real challenge that our leaders, you know, had to getting out there. But I can certainly answer the why. What I'd like to do is play a video that I made early on, but we're just going to play the audio right now. But you know, for me, what was really important is celebrating not just the future, but also the past and the present. And I think that, you know, what I like to see is that it is incumbent upon all of our legislators to actively engage, because think about this, what is really unique about America 250 PA, and that is our governance. And that's why that every single member of the House, Senate, legislature, et cetera, should be actively involved. I can tell you that how I am participating in that, I looked in that the Pennsylvania Historic Museum Commission has markers all over the entire state of Pennsylvania. Every single legislator should be looking at where are their historic markers in their district, make a visit, invite Cassandra, invite, you know, other people in the commission, and maybe make a video telling people about the history of what's in your district and those people who founded their communities, because our roots are our strength. And this is a once in a lifetime, at least for many of us right now, to celebrate this. But I would like to play this, and I'm going to play the audio if I can get this working. But I know we're short on time, but I think it's, let's see if we can.
45 minutes.
Yeah. The challenge that we have is the internet is not great in these rooms sometimes. Okay, let's see if we can get this started. Oh, it might be the problem that I expected.
Should we move to the next speaker?
Yeah.
And then while you get that worked out?
Absolutely.
All right. The next speaker would be Jean Barr.
On the Wi-Fi.
Is coming up on a big celebration. In 2026, the United States of America will be celebrating its 250th birthday. That's right, 250 years since our founding fathers claimed our independence and our rights as U.S. citizens with the Declaration of Independence. The Declaration of Independence states the sacred principles on which our government was founded. Well, the celebration of 250 years is 4 years away. Federal and state agencies, local museums, the nation's history enthusiasts, and many more have already started planning for this event, with our Commonwealth of Pennsylvania taking a leading role. Recently, I was pleased to join the America 250 PA committee for a reception to kick off this largest and most inclusive anniversary observance. Pennsylvania, the first official state partner to join the national celebration effort, has set a positive precedent to further this vision of engaging every American and representing the diverse perspectives and contributions our state has to offer. I am excited to join in to help celebrate the many years of opportunity and freedom that this country has afforded to so many people, including my own grandparents who came to Pennsylvania in the 1920s to find a new life and new opportunities. The nationwide America 250 commemoration has the opportunity to engage nearly 350 million Americans and millions more friends in celebrating the rich history of independence through signature programs, educational outreach, and grassroots initiatives. In the past several years, 21 states have established commissions tasked with the planning of this 250th anniversary commemoration, and 11 more have introduced legislation to create state commissions just this year. In addition, we could not celebrate the 250th anniversary of our nation without the brave service and sacrifice of our U.S. Armed Forces, veterans, and all those who have worn our nation's uniform. We should all look forward to celebrating the year 2026 when we celebrate America's 250th birthday. This event promises to be a once-in-a-lifetime experience for all Americans. In the words of commission members, this celebration will be epic. It will educate, it will preserve, it will innovate, and it will celebrate our nation's great history. I look forward to participating, and I hope you will too.
So the reason why I wanted to play that is because, you know, this is something that is near and dear to my heart. And again, I challenge every single House member to look at what is going on in their districts, connect with the commission, connect with the commissioners. But it is very, very important for this legislature to engage because it is what makes this country unique. Thank you.
Thank you. We have 15 minutes left. And so, Jean?
I can talk fast.
Okay.
Not a problem.
Go ahead.
Chairwoman, thank you. Chairman, thanks. Good to see many of you who I'm familiar with from my days at the State Chamber. I am a legislative appointee to the commission. I have been since its inception in 2018. As you've heard today, Pennsylvania is on a national and, in fact, an international stage. It's why it is so critical that we get this right, that we do it the right way. And I think that's what this commission and particularly the staff have done since the inception. They have pushed us in that. One of the things that we get asked about a lot, how is this going to differ from 1976? And it seems like everyone wants to say where they were in 1976. Okay, I was in college in Philadelphia. I remember it, but I was not on the commission. And I think what you heard today, in my view, is the biggest difference in how we're going to celebrate. We appropriately talked about Independence National Park and those related events. What I believe are doing here, and the commission and the committee and the staff has done a phenomenal job, is identifying the diverse stories that have often not been told as part of this. I never knew about the Dennis Farm until I was on this commission. It is an incredible story. We're hearing other incredible stories across this Commonwealth, this broad and diverse fabric of the stories that are being told by people whose stories, in fact, have not been told before. I was particularly glad to hear that we had a teacher on here today because my own interest in history, lifelong study and scholarship and interest in history, was started, one, with a commemoration in my small town. I grew up in the borough of Upland, which in fact is the second oldest community, arguably, in Pennsylvania, founded by the Swedes. Right next to the city of Chester, which in fact is older than the city of Philadelphia. It has the oldest courthouse, I believe, continuously used in the United States. Upland has the only house left that William Penn is known to have visited, the only one. These are things that I remember from, because I had a teacher fortunate enough to talk about the heritage and to bring the local side. In my view, you build from the local to the state to the national and then go from there. I was fortunate to have people who were willing to do that. Today, in addition to my work on the commission, one of the other things I'm doing as I'm failing retirement miserably is I'm also the vice chair of the Gettysburg Foundation, which is a public-private partnership that, along with the National Park Service, administers and oversees the Museum and Visitor Center and also assists the Park Service in their operation of telling the story not only of the Battle of Gettysburg, but of the Eisenhower National Site there as well. And yes, we will be coming, I think, back to all of you. We want to get the Gettysburg Address back in Pennsylvania where it should be, on the site of what I would argue is the most famous speech in American history. It needs to be here next year. We are working on that already. Finally, as Chamber President, former chamber president. I fully understand what tourism means to this Commonwealth and its businesses, in many cases, particularly its smaller businesses. We are going to attract national and international attention here. We are going to work to get people to travel this Commonwealth, yes, to Philadelphia, to Independence Park, to all of the events that are going there, yes, to Gettysburg, yes, to Pittsburgh, but also everywhere where they can appreciate the historical, the cultural, and the tremendous natural resources that this Commonwealth has. As I said, we have a singular and lifetime opportunity here to do that, and I firmly believe we on the commission, and particularly our staff, is doing everything they can to make this a successful event. I encourage all of you as elected officials to talk with your local groups. When I go back to Gettysburg and talk to people down there, they are excited beyond belief at what's happening because they know we're looking to bring in other stories as well. I encourage you to talk to your local folks. If they're not involved, please get them involved. Thanks for the opportunity to talk today.
Thank you very much. Turn myself up. Jared Solomon, I'm going to give you 2 minutes. I can't cut your mic off, though, because we think that we can get...
Well, you're taking my 2 minutes now.
Yes, I am. I'm glad you realize that.
Chair Daley, thank you so much. Chair James, thank you. And to the great staff, Josh, Jenny, and all of you, I know how hard you work to make America 250, this committee, run well. So thank you. I think on the values piece, on freedom, on the importance of citizenry, on liberty, we are all bought in. Am I right? There's no question on Pennsylvania America values. And in fact, I've been bought in since 2018. I've been drinking the America 250 Kool-Aid since 2018. And now we're 1 year away. Rep. Smith said he remembers 1976 and how he felt. And I think that's an important point. I feel good right now. I don't know how you feel or how the members of the committee feels, but what I am more interested in is not how we feel, but what we do. And that is what I'm challenging each member, the commission, and this committee is to do. Because other states are doing transformational big things. New Jersey, $25 million investment. Infrastructure. Virginia, $47 million investment in infrastructure. And if you go back to prior celebrations, they understood the importance of these American moments to do transformational things. In 1876, 1 out of every 4 U.S. citizen came to Philadelphia. And what they saw was a chapel of innovation that was built near Memorial Hall, which is now the Please Touch Museum. And under that chapel of innovation was Machinery Hall, where Alexander Graham Bell was right here, was in Philadelphia to, you're cutting me off.
I am. I'm so sorry. We have time?
Yeah, we're not in session till noon.
It's 11:52. Go ahead.
I'm gonna finish. It's getting good. It's getting good, I promise. I'm just warming up.
I'm counting on you.
I'm gonna deliver. That Machinery Hall, typewriter, Alexander Graham Bell, telephone, antisepsis, where we now sterilize medical instruments that have saved millions of lives. Dr. Lister was in Philadelphia. That stuff we love to hate, Listerine, that's named for him. And they kept on going. 1926, 150th, FDR Park, Municipal Stadium, which became JFK Stadium. 1976, African American Museum, Seaport Museum, and on and on and on. Now we come to 2026. What are the big transformational things we have planned? To the 2 chairs, what's going on in Montgomery and Venango counties? What are we building? Anyone on the committee, What are you building in your county?
We planted the Liberty Tree.
Okay, I'll take a tree. That's a start, Chair. That's a start. But we could do much better than just that tree. And that's what I am challenging us all to do, so that we leave a lasting legacy in each of your counties that everyone can point to and to say this happened in 2026 and 2027 to commemorate liberty and freedom and citizenry. I believe that is our mission, that is our call, and we all need to be united to do that work. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Solomon. Okay. Do we really think we have a way to get through with the commissioner?
I think she's fixed. I'm not sure. We believe she's fixed.
I can try this one more time. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'll be
You
very
have to
quick.
keep it really, really short. But
I will. Thank you.
thanks for trying again.
Sure. Thanks for allowing me to speak today. My goal as commissioner is simple: to leave the county better than I found it. But if I have a legacy, I hope it's this: to make a lasting impact on our younger generations. As Elk County's advisory board member to the America 250 PA delegation, I'm excited to share this experience with all our citizens, especially the next generation. I want to set an example of pride and love of county, state, and country. That mission to engage as many citizens as possible inspired the concept for our Bells Across PA project. We partnered with Elk County resident John Schlim to create something bold and far-reaching, something that could serve as a 250th birthday gift to the United States from every corner of our 181-year-old county. What we came up with is a participatory interactive art installation to have each one of our 4,000 K through 12 students across Elk County add splashes of color to our Liberty Bell. Right now, our Elk County Liberty Bell is traveling on an 11-week tour, visiting all 14 of our K through 12 schools, where students are adding their favorite colors to it. Our local papers regularly publish photos to keep our residents updated on the progress. When I'm at the grocery store or post office, people are always telling me they're excited to see the final product. Let me share what a few students had to say. A third grader at FSG Elementary told us he couldn't wait to be 59 years old on America's 300th birthday so he could take his own kids to see the bell he helped paint. A sixth grader from St. Mary's Area Middle School said, "I'm proud to live in America. It was fun splattering the Liberty Bell, and I can't wait to show my family when it's done." And the Johnsonburg Area High School students said, "It's not very often that we get to participate in collaborative and historical projects like this, ones that are fun, creative, energetic, and authentic, and that celebrate Pennsylvania and America." What struck me most is how many students already knew about the Liberty Bell and Philadelphia's role in our founding. That connection between past and present is exactly what we hope to spark. When completed, our Elk County Liberty Bell will stand proudly on the courthouse lawn. Elk County is rural, but we are rich in community pride and tradition. Our residents have deep roots, big hearts, and a strong connection to our shared history. This project has shown that the Semiquincentennial is not just for big cities like Pittsburgh or Philadelphia. It's for all of us in every corner of the Commonwealth. I can tell you honestly, our Liberty Bell project has already made a huge impact on our students and our citizens. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak.
Commissioner, thank you. That's a very good message. So we really don't have time for questions. But Jill, did you have a question? Okay. So what I would like to do is continue this conversation, maybe not in a hearing, but we'll figure something out. So Josh, I know you've been working to put this together. I really appreciate it because I thought that the testimony that people provided really gave a really, in my view, really great view of how you're doing this. And I think the focus on all Americans is actually great. And I'm not talking about in the sports kind of way, but in the real life that we all live, that when all Americans are included. And I heard that from numerous people. So I do want to know how you want to leverage us as elected representatives at state level. If you have a plan on that, I think we should talk about that.
Sorry, just really quickly.
Don't let us just decide that we need to do this all by ourselves because we need help.
No.
You know we do.
I want to make a very specific direct ask, which flows from my comments. The governor has proposed $65 million. Our great mayor in Philadelphia, $100 million. What I am asking everyone on this committee to do is urge your leadership in your caucus to step up and provide additional resources. Very simple. We can do it as a letter to the respective caucuses or a bipartisan letter, but every caucus, House D, House R, Senate D, Senate R, to step up and provide the infrastructure funding we need.
Ask that the two commissioners who are sitting in this room, who are also members of the House of Representatives, draft that, and we will circulate it amongst the entire group. I think you've been working on this, and I think if you can put that together, I can see no reason to not
Chair, happy to.
get support for that.
And also to get the engagement of our House members, because I think that people, if they're not have their hands in it and they're not invested, they're not going to understand the gravity of this. I would ask the committee, respective sides, to perhaps find those historic markers in all the members, at least of the committee, and assign them as a committee and just say, go visit your historic marker. I know that sounds like something really, really simple, but I think that when you're standing there in a spot that something significant happened in Pennsylvania, it's going to really have an impact.
So I will tell you that in my town, we have a historic marker for Bert Bell, who was one of the founders, was the founder of the National Football League. And when I told Art Rooney that, he then really supported something that we were doing with a letter to leadership. So there's also a book that has been written. It's called Black History in the Philadelphia Landscape, and it's an amazing book talking about where the historic markers are in Philadelphia that honor Black people with their history, and it goes back to the Revolutionary times up until probably the 1970s, and I think they'll probably do another version. It's really interesting and something that I live 8 miles from the center of Philadelphia and see some of these, but this was really, so guides are really helpful. But yes, he's arguing with me, was it Art Rooney or Dan Rooney? It was Art Rooney. Because we were in Pittsburgh. So the other thing is that one of the things that we could do with the organizations is we do tours with the tourism committee, and maybe we focus on what's coming up in the different areas. So I know we have talked already about visiting Gettysburg, even though we did it last year. It's kind of place, we have new committee members this year. It's an easy drive down from Harrisburg. So and that's part of the reason we did this hearing, and we invited members, all the members of the House, to join us. So, and I was really glad that a number of them did. And I really appreciate those of you who stayed for the whole, the whole time, because I think we're all torn in a lot of different directions, which doesn't mean we don't care, but I think helping us, your video or your audio, it was a little bit long maybe for today, but I think the message was really a good one.
Well, the video, if you see the video pictures that come with it, it really loses its feel. But
Yeah. So, but I think that we can all brainstorm on getting people excited in their own areas. So I really appreciate everybody who was here today, even the ones who had to leave early. Thank you so much, because I thought it was just really informative and interesting, and I feel more inspired. Lee, do you have anything?
I'm almost as inspired. Yes, thank you. I have notes from all the panels. I just wanted to say one of my favorites was from the why category, to leave a lasting impression on our children. And I think that's pretty critical.
Yeah, thanks
Thank you
for
all.
doing this.
Oh.